How a roadside restaurant became the biggest restaurant franchise in the world. Story of KFC. So the story of KFC starts in year 1890, when Harlan Sanders was born to father Wilbur David Sanders and mother Margaret Ann Sanders. Do you know Harlan Sanders learned cooking at the age of 5 to feed his siblings and went on to build the biggest fast food empire in the world, which we now know as KFC? Do you know how he came up with the cooking techniques and spices for his chicken which defined KFC in the world? Keep watching to get the answers. Harlan was the firstborn of the couple. After Harlan, they had 2 more children. Harlan was not more than 5 when a personal tragedy struck the family. His father died. This put his family in great distress because he was the only one to earn for his family of 4 members. In such a situation, his mother started working. She sewed for other families and peeled tomatoes in food factory. She left her children at home while working, and all the responsibility for caring for 2 children fell on the elder brother, Harlan, while he was a child himself. He used to cook food for his siblings and feed them as his mother wanted. This was when he learned to cook, and he only got better with it. By the age of 7, he was already cooking vegetables, bread, and meat. Life went on for him. He continued to take care of his sibling, and he got a job on farmland when he was 10. But that didn't go well. He got fired after a few weeks because he was too distracted by the farm animal. When he was 12, Mother Margaret remarried. This would have been a good thing for the family, but only it was not. The man she married was not okay with the idea of raising stepchildren. His home became suffocating for young Harlan. After 1 year of struggling with the family, he left his house. He again started working on farmland while he tried to continue his study, but he couldn't continue his studies as it was getting difficult for him to do that. He even joined the US military by falsely stating his age, and he served in Cuba during 1906. Yes, military, but this serving period was brief. After a few months, he was discharged from his service. After that, he did various jobs, one after another. From his teenage to his late 30s, he worked as a streetcar conductor, insurance seller, railroad fireman, steamboat operator, lawyer, and tire seller. Young Harlan was resourceful and good at getting a job, but not so good at keeping them, as his mother pointed out while growing up. All these jobs were good for him, but the best was yet to come. The big break. This was the time of Great Depression. His wife had left him by then and he had become alone. He had to sell his things and began the hunt for job. It was the year 1930 and things began changing for him. He was 40 by then and hired to work at a Shell gas station in Corbin, Kentucky. This would have been one more job for him, but he uses the culinary skills he learned in childhood to make some extra money. He began serving food, especially fried chicken, to the people at the gas station. Initially, he cooked for a table of 2 people, and it proved to be a hit. The word spread, and people from around the place began pouring into the gas station for the food. Later, when asked about his journey, he said, "Do all you can, and do it the best you can. It's the only way you ever get the feeling of accomplishing something," and we couldn't agree more. There were no promotions, just word of mouth did the trick for Harlan's food. It was such a big hit that they had to close the gas station and turn it into a full-fledged restaurant named Sanders Cafe. The business was going well, and everyone was enjoying this cafe and Harlan's fried chicken. Because of the cafe, the town of Kentucky started seeing visitors from different states, and they were there to eat the fried chicken of Sanders Cafe. By observing the success of the restaurant, Governor of Kentucky honored Harlan Sanders as Colonel in 1936, an honorable title of Kentucky. The following year was also a success for Harlan. He expanded his cafe and included a motel with the Sanders Cafe. And now it has a seating capacity of 142 customers. People say it was huge, and we agree. From serving 2 at gas station to serving 142 people at a time was a big jump, but Harlan Sanders still had the best to give: the invention and magic of 11 herbs and spices. The food at the restaurant was great, but there was one problem he noticed which his customers were facing. Once the order was placed, it used to take 30 to 35 minutes to cook the chicken, which was too much time for customers and the business. So he started experimenting with chicken. He fried the chicken and kept it in the freezer so it could instantly be fried before serving, but that didn't work. Although the chicken had the same taste, but it had lost moisture and became dry. He again started looking for a new way of cooking to reduce the time, but keep the water and flavor intact. He learned about the pressure cooker, which was new in the market back then. Harlan took the pressure cooker, modified it according to his need, and began experimenting. He experimented with cooking time, meat type, and other factors. It took him days to find the perfect way to cook the meat, which would carry the same amazing taste and cook fast. He finally found an ideal way to reduce the time from 30 to 35 minutes to sweeping 8 minutes. This invention changed the game for his cafe. Customers don't have to wait for long. They can sit and place the order, and their tasty chicken will be ready within a few minutes. Anyone would have stopped at this, but not Harland. He began preparing a magical mix, a mix which would define KFC in the world. Harland took 11 herbs and spices and started making a perfect seasoning mixture, and he found the ideal blend. The 11 herbs and spices are still kept secret. When asked, he said, "I threw 2 handfuls of it into the flour and stirred it up with the rest of my seasonings. When I fried it up, it was the best chicken I'd ever tasted in my life, and I have never changed my ingredients from that time to this." The struggle. The story would have ended here, but KFC was still to be born. Harland expanded his business and opened another Sanders Court and Cafe in Asheville, in North Carolina in 1939. But he was struck by a tragedy. An accidental fire burned his old cafe in Kentucky. He put his money back to rebuild it, but soon World War II started and affected the business immensely. The number of customers reduced and business began shrinking. And if this was not enough, the cafe near the highway started losing customers because an interstate bypass was built on that highway. So the number of people taking the highway reduced, and naturally, business reduced. After much struggle, Harland had to sell his first cafe in Corbin for just $63,000 and leave despondently. He was 66 and had lost everything. He was forced to live on Social Security check of $102 per month, but this proved to be a blessing in disguise. The rise. It was the year 1952, and the idea of opening a franchise struck Harland. This breathed new life into him. With little money in his pocket, he would prepare his famous fried chicken and start selling from door to door. He would travel to local restaurants and ask them to cook for the restaurant employees. And they would like the chicken, and he would strike a deal with a local restaurant that they would sell his chicken in their restaurant and pay Harland 4 cents for each piece of his fried chicken. During this time, he also asked his good friend Pete Harmon, who had a restaurant near the highways, to serve his chicken. This turned out to be a game changer. The sale of his friend's restaurant raised by more than 75%, and then came a historical moment in 1963 when Harland signed his first franchise agreement with a restaurant in Utah by the name of Kentucky Fried Chicken. After that, Harland didn't look back. He made strict rules on how to cook his chicken and present it, which every KFC had to follow. By maintaining the quality of each outlet, he opened 600 outlets of KFC in the USA. The sale. The business was multiplying, and Harland was growing too old to take care of all the outlets, and many wished to buy his company. But after much persuasion, he sold his company to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown and Jack Massey. He sold it for $2 million in 1964 with the condition of maintaining the quality of food at his franchise, and he will always be the face of the company. All the conditions were agreed upon. The franchise of KFC kept growing with time. By 1970, it had 3,000 outlets, and it is in this year PepsiCo acquired KFC. It was the year of 1980 when Harland died at the age of 90. By then, KFC had doubled to 6,000 outlets and spread in 48 countries. KFC is still growing with 24,998 outlets all over the world, which not only carry the taste of Harland Sanders, but also his legacy. So that was the video, guys. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And yes, don't forget to press the bell icon to get notification of our fantastic video.